Hello, everyone, and welcome to AgeTasticly. You might have seen us on TikTok or Instagram. We just wanted to take an opportunity to be able to discuss some of our subjects at greater length and give you more information than we can on our short form videos. My name's Louise, and I'm the Southerner.
She is indeed. I'm Maria, and I am the Northerner, and together we are AgeTasticly.
AgeTasticly!
So our mission, we came together really to be a voice and an advocate for older people, ensure that they are seen and heard because often they feel invisible. To support people who are maybe looking after somebody, a family member, a neighbour, etc. Just to try and make the world a little bit better for older people and those supporting them. And that's our mission.
And I just want to add that we're not selling anything, we're not trying to make money out of you. We literally just want to spread the word and maybe give you some tips and hints. And as Maria said, just make life a little bit better for older people.
Yep. And all other support and advice to us is also welcome.
So today we want to talk about doctor's appointments, how hard it is to get them, and how we can support our older people with the process. So, Maria, what do
Mhm.
you think are the barriers to older people getting a doctor's appointment?
I mean, I think lots of people find it challenging nowadays to get a doctor's appointment, let alone our older people. So I think the first barrier is I'd say technology. Technology has moved on, which is always a good thing, but not always the best thing for older people, perhaps, who maybe are a little bit fearful of technology or just don't want to be bothered with it. So I think, as we know, e-consults are quite popular nowadays. Um, I've heard that some surgeries only do e-consults and you can't get hold of people via a phone now. So that would be a huge barrier. Also, phone calls are a massive barrier for people getting an appointment. I think we have to remember that not everybody has a touch phone as well. You
Mhm.
know, press one for this, press two for the other. I still know older people who have an old classic
Yeah.
phone, not a touch button phone. Um, and also, people just having to sit for endless amounts of time at the end of a phone waiting to get through. And they might say, phone at 8 o'clock in the morning. By the time you've actually, even if you manage to get through, there's no appointments left.
Mm.
Some people just can't stand. Lots of older people might still have a phone in their corridor or something like that. Some people just can't stand long enough for that phone call to go through. They might not be able to hear the message on the other end for press one for appointments, press two for this. So people might not be able to hear. And also, when you get to a certain age, sometimes you just cannot be bothered to sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes on the end of the phone, just waiting for an appointment. Sometimes you just cannot be bothered. And I think also, sorry, I know you were gonna say something, but I shelp on a lot. Um, Lots of older people often wait till it's really late to
Mm.
go to the doctors as well, because a lot of people have that kind of thought still in their head that you do not bother a doctor, you know, unless you're really, really, really poorly. So often people are burying, is that even a word? Burying themselves. It's not a
Barrier.
word. I don't know. I'm dyslexic, everyone, by the way. So you'll hear some words that don't actually make sense to me or anybody else. Um, yeah, that in a nutshell.
Well, some of the things I picked up on about what you said, it is very common for your doctor's surgery to say phone at 8 o'clock in the morning. But as we both know, older people aren't necessarily great in the mornings, or it takes them a lot longer to get out of bed, get themselves ready. So, I mean, that sounds like a big problem to me.
Yep, absolutely.
Also, when you were talking about technology, I mean, my doctor's surgery, I know you have to do an e-consult now. There isn't an option.
Oh, really? There's no option at all.
No. You can phone the surgery, but not, they don't want you to make an appointment on the telephone.
Yeah, because I mean, I've often heard you say, "Oh, I can't be bothered to sit and wait for 45 minutes
Well,
on
when
the
I
end of
phone
the
and they say you're
phone."
28th in the queue,
Yeah,
and that's me, I can't imagine how an older
exactly.
person would feel if they heard that.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are just two things that are huge barriers
Mm.
to getting a doctor's appointment.
So I've got to make a confession.
Dum dum dum.
I find it really frustrating trying to help my dad when it comes to things like this. He hates using the telephone. He does not have an email address or use a computer. And he will sometimes sacrifice his health because he just will not go through the steps he needs to take. I feel bad for being cross with him, but it is so frustrating because you want to do something to help them
Mm.
and you feel like they're not helping themselves. And I understand now that you've explained to me what the sorts of barriers that they might find difficult, but it is frustrating, isn't it, as someone who cares for an older person?
Yeah, I mean, it is really frustrating when you can see how potentially easy it is, what you would think is easy, just to make a doctor's appointment and go and see somebody. But there might be many reasons for your dad not wanting to do
Mm.
that appointment. I mean, one could be fear and anxiety. He could have fear and anxiety, one about using the telephone. Lots of people do. It's quite common for people not to actually like talking on the phone.
I don't like talking
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, I'm not keen either. No, absolutely. So I think that's one reason.
Mm.
He might find it anxiety provoking. He might be worried about his health, um, and not want to admit that. Knowing your dad a little bit, I'd say some of that might be true. As lovely as your dad is.
Mm. And he's stubborn.
Yep, I was going to say that, but I didn't know if I should. But yeah, he is stubborn. But I think sometimes you've got to think about where stubbornness comes from. It does often come from a place of fear and anxiety and frustration.
Yeah.
Often, yeah.
It's just hard.
And at the end of
Sometimes
the
it's
day, sorry,
sorry. I was going to say
sorry.
sometimes it's hard to remember.
Shall I go or shall you go? I was just going to say, we do have to remember it is his choice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, having a chat with him would be helpful.
So I live quite a distance from my parents and my uncle, who I care for, or help care for, I should say. But
Yep,
you actually live with your mum, don't you?
I do for my
Hmm.
sins. Yes, I
So
do.
are there any challenges that your mum or that you have with your mum around this?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we're pretty lucky actually in the north, or at least here, with our surgery. We often don't have to wait a huge amount of time on the phone. So we're quite lucky. We do have to do it at 8 o'clock, which is actually a challenge for my mum. She isn't great of a morning. She never has been. That's not an age thing,
Hmm.
She's just not great in the morning, bless her. So if she needs to make an appointment, she will have to set an alarm, an hour early or something, and come round a bit in order to do that. Um, my mum hasn't, she's never done the consults. She finds things like that challenging. And then there's the NHS app as well, where often things have started going to appointments and things like that. So my mum does have an email address, but you would never know it. Like you would never know she's got a phone. We always say it's easier to get hold of the Pope than my mother. so yeah, she doesn't use what she has, so she will miss things like appointments and anything that comes through, reminders and things like that on her phone, text reminders and things. So yeah, equally challenging, even though I live with my mum, because I try and obviously help my mum to be as independent as possible.
So we've talked about some of the challenges older people face. We've talked about some of the challenges we face with our parents.
Mhm.
What are the things we can do to help older people when it comes to making doctor's appointments?
I think the first thing is obviously communication. So having a chat with your person. So, your older person, your parent, your neighbor, your niece, or whoever it is, you're supporting. Um, Ask them if they'd like help. Ask them what help they'd like. Ask them if they'd like to learn more about, e-consults or the NHS app. Some people might not want to. If somebody just says, no, no, I've no interest, I don't want to know about that, that's understandable. And again, that could come from a place of sort of fear and just feeling that they won't understand it and feel stupid. Just as somebody with dyslexia, I understand that a lot. So I will often just say, no, I'm fine. I've no interest in that because I'm kind of a bit scared of the technology and looking stupid. So I think it is sometimes it's perseverance. Just be like, oh,
Mhm.
well, I'm going to have a look at it because I don't really know much about it either. Shall we have a look together, maybe? So you could do that. Maybe put an app on their phone. Maybe support somebody how to do that. How to go to maybe the Play Store and actually have a look how to download an app if somebody doesn't know how to.
What if they don't have a phone? What could we do to support them if they don't have a phone
Yeah,
or a laptop?
I mean, lots of people don't. Um, if somebody doesn't have a phone, but perhaps you could talk to them about would they like one.
Mhm.
That might be something that you can do together. Maybe look at getting a new phone. There are some smartphones that are specifically targeted for sort of older people or people who are not tech savvy.
Mhm.
So there are phones out there that are just pretty basic where you can just make a call or send a text or look up something on the internet. So there are those phones out there as well. I mean, you could look at getting a laptop for somebody or an iPad type tablets are often quite good. I mean, we've supported people of the age of 100 to learn tablets
Mm.
and email and searching the web and things like that. So, but I just think take your time, take your time with people and
Well, if they were really against technology,
mm.
would a doctor's surgery let you make an appointment for the person you care for? Do you have to have special permission for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your surgery. So, for example, with my surgery, you can't do that unless you've got a letter with a signature on to say that, for example, my mum has said that I can make an appointment for her, or I couldn't even cancel appointment recently, which I thought was daft. Um, so again, it does depend on the surgery. So I would just, ask the surgery what their policies are.
So, what would the alternative be then? Can you sit with your older person and try and help them on the telephone if they didn't want to sit and wait? Can you offer to wait on hold for them, or what
Yeah.
other options are there?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good option actually because you're there to offer support, but you're also supporting them to be independent as well, and you're just there as a backup, just in case. So yeah, I think that's a really good option. Yeah.
So, let's say we've taken the advice, we've broken down the barriers, we've got our older person an appointment. Can you accompany them to the doctors? Can you go in if they want you to? What are the options there?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it would be down to that person if they wanted you to be with them.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, doctors are, excellent when it comes to that kind of thing. But again, it's always down to your older person. Do they want that support? Some people will, some people won't. They might see it as, I'm not a child. In fact, my mother has said that to me, when I'm like, Mom, can I come in with you? Maria, I'm not a child.
Mhm.
But yet she still, I'm 49 and she still wants to come into my appointments with me.
Oh,
So yes, but
you are her
absolutely.
child.
I am her child indeed. But I mean, sometimes it's just genuinely useful because I mean, I will often forget what somebody has said to me.
Mm.
I mean, I've with my dyslexia, I've got short-term auditory and visual memory. But you know what it's like when you're sat listening to somebody, you just forget what people have
Yeah.
said. So having a second person around for whatever reason can just be very helpful. Doesn't matter of your age.
And what about home visits? Will doctors send people if your older person can't get to the surgery for whatever reason? Will they send someone to their house?
Yeah, do you know what? This is a bugbear of mine.
Mm.
So again, it does depend on your surgery. It is sadly not like it used to be in the good old days.
Mm.
I mean, I remember the doctor was always at our house. You'd just phone up and he'd be there that day. And I think things have changed nowadays. It is very limited home visits now. Some surgeries will still do it for older and vulnerable people,
Mm.
but you really have to push for that, to be honest. And I have tried to do that for some older people, and they have said, if that person needs to be seen, then they need to contact 111. So they're not always the best thing that you need. So again, it does depend on your surgery. Um, but it's always worth checking and just say that person is, potentially housebound. They can't get out, but they really need to see somebody. So it's always worth asking.
So,
Absolutely. And you can always go into your surgery as well and, chat to the receptionist, try and make an appointment that way, or have a bit of human contact,
yeah.
um, which older people often like, old fashioned.
Hmm.
Imagine going and having a chat with somebody. So yeah, there's always that, pop into the surgery as well.
So just be a good advocate for your older person if they want you to
Yeah,
and champion their choices. Is that what we're saying?
I think that's exactly what we're saying. Beautifully summed up there, Louise. Yes,
Oh, I'm learning,
absolutely.
Maria. I'm learning.
Absolutely. Banging. Do you say banging in the South? Would you say
Banging. I
banging?
mean,
I
I
say
don't, but
banging.
maybe.
I don't know. I think I'm too cool for my own self.
Maybe you are. Okay, well, I hope you found what we've been talking about informative. We are going to do one long format chat every week, and then we're going to continue that subject throughout the week on our social media. So TikTok is at AgeTasticly, and so is Instagram. So that should be easy for you to find us, and like, subscribe, and follow on our YouTube channel. It's early days, but we hope to build up a library of really useful information for all of you. Um, so anything you want to say, Maria, before we go?
Yeah, I've always got something to say.
Mm.
I would say if you've got any questions for us, please do DM us. Is that what the cool
Yeah,
kids say? Yeah. Yeah, please get in touch if you've got any questions and we will do our best to answer. If you've got any top tips that you'd like to share as well, yeah, please get in touch. But we are excited to be chatting to you and
definitely.
hopefully making life better for our older people. So yeah, we look forward to more of these chats.
Well, let's let the viewers in on how we like to say goodbye to each other.
Okay, yeah.
So, age-tastically,
AgeTasticly,
over
over
and
now.